A disconnect is required at the pole barn, typically in a weatherproof enclosure, as per the National Electrical Code Article 225.30. For a 200 amp service and a distance of 150 feet, the recommended wire gauges are as follows. For the 3 conductors, use #4 AWG copper or larger. Aluminum is not recommended. For the neutral conductor, use #4 AWG copper or larger. For the grounding conductor, use #6 AWG copper or larger. The pole barn and house electrical systems must be grounded to a common point. A grounding electrode system must be installed at the pole barn, typically consisting of 8-foot copper-clad rods spaced 6 feet apart, driven 20 feet deep. The grounding electrode system must be bonded to the neutral conductor at the pole barn disconnect. The grounding conductor must be connected to the grounding electrode system and to the grounding electrode at the house. Underground conductors must be installed in conduit or direct buried cable suitable for underground use. The conduit or cable must be buried at least 18 inches deep. The conductors must be protected from mechanical damage. It is crucial to adhere to all local electrical codes and regulations in addition to the National Electrical Code. Permits may be required for this type of electrical work. Consulting with a licensed electrician is highly recommended to ensure the installation is safe, compliant, and meets your specific needs. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides comprehensive standards for electrical installations. Article 225 pertains specifically to outside branch circuits and feeders. Section 225.30, as referenced earlier, dictates the number of disconnects required for a building or structure supplied by a feeder or branch circuit. This section aims to ensure that a readily accessible disconnect is available for emergency situations or maintenance purposes. When selecting wire gauges, several factors must be taken into consideration, including the ampacity of the conductors, the distance of the run, and the allowable voltage drop. Ampacity refers to the current carrying capacity of a conductor, and it is determined by the conductor's material, size, and insulation type. The National Electrical Code Table 310.15b16 provides ampacity ratings for various conductors based on their size and insulation type. Voltage drop is the reduction in voltage that occurs along a conductor due to its resistance. Excessive voltage drop can cause equipment to malfunction or operate inefficiently. The National Electrical Code recommends limiting voltage drop to no more than 3% for branch circuits and 5% for feeders. When calculating the required wire gauge, it is important to consider the total load on the circuit, the distance of the run, and the allowable voltage drop. Online voltage drop calculators can be helpful in determining the appropriate wire gauge. Grounding is an essential safety measure that protects against electrical shock and equipment damage. A properly grounded electrical system provides a low impedance path for fault current to flow back to the source, causing the circuit breaker to trip and energize the circuit. The grounding electrode system, or GES, is the primary means of grounding an electrical system. The GES typically consists of one or more grounding electrodes, such as ground rods, ground plates, or metal water pipes, that are bonded together and connected to the building's grounding system. The National Electrical Code Article 250 provides detailed requirements for grounding and bonding electrical systems. Bonding refers to the practice of connecting all metal parts of an electrical system together to create a low impedance path for fault current. Bonding is essential for preventing voltage differences between metal parts, which can create a shock hazard. Underground conductors must be protected from physical damage and moisture. Conduit is a common method of protecting underground conductors, and it is available in various materials, such as rigid metal conduit, intermediate metal conduit, and PVC conduit. Direct burial cable is another option for underground installations, and it is specifically designed for direct burial in the earth. The National Electrical Code requires that underground conductors be buried at a minimum depth to protect them from damage. The specific depth requirement depends on the type of wiring method and the voltage of the circuit. It is important to carefully plan the layout of the underground wiring to avoid obstructions such as trees, rocks, and underground utilities. Before digging, It is essential to contact the local utility companies to locate any underground utilities in the area. This will help prevent damage to the utilities and ensure the safety of the workers. When installing underground conduit, it is important to ensure that it is properly sealed to prevent moisture from entering. Moisture can damage the conductors and cause corrosion. Conduit fittings such as couplings and connectors should be listed for underground use and installed according to the manufacturer's instructions. When using direct burial cable, it is important to follow the manufacturer's instructions for installation. The cable should be buried at the proper depth and protected from sharp objects that could damage the insulation. Backfilling the trench with sand or other suitable material can help protect the cable. It is also important to install a warning ribbon above the cable to alert anyone digging in the area. The warning ribbon should be buried a few inches below the surface and should be brightly colored and clearly marked with a warning message. The neutral conductor plays a crucial role in the operation of an electrical system. It provides a return path for current from the load back to the source. The neutral conductor is typically grounded at the service entrance, which provides a reference point for voltage and helps to stabilize the system. The size of the neutral conductor is determined by the load on the circuit. The National Electrical Code allows the neutral conductor to be smaller than the ungrounded conductors in some cases, but it must be large enough to carry the maximum unbalanced load. The grounding conductor is a separate conductor that is used to connect the grounding electrode system to the electrical equipment. The grounding conductor provides a low impedance path for fault current to flow back to the source, causing the circuit breaker to trip and to energize the circuit. The size of the grounding conductor is determined by the size of the ungrounded conductors. The National Electrical Code provides tables that specify the minimum size of the grounding conductor based on the size of the ungrounded conductors. The grounding electrode system is the primary means of grounding an electrical system. It typically consists of one or more grounding electrodes, such as ground rods, ground plates, or metal water pipes, that are bonded together and connected to the building's grounding system. The grounding electrode system should be installed in accordance with the National Electrical Code Article 250. Ground rods are a common type of grounding electrode. They are typically made of copper or copper-clad steel and are driven into the ground to a depth of at least 8 feet. The National Electrical Code requires that ground rods be spaced at least 6 feet apart. Ground plates are another type of grounding electrode. They are typically made of copper and are buried in the ground to a depth of at least 2.5 feet. Metal water pipes can also be used as grounding electrodes, but they must be in direct contact with the earth for at least 10 feet. The connection between the grounding electrode system and the building's grounding system is called the grounding electrode conductor. The grounding electrode conductor must be sized according to the National Electrical Code and must be protected from physical damage. Bonding is the practice of connecting all metal parts of an electrical system together to create a low impedance path for fault current. Bonding is essential for preventing voltage differences between metal parts, which can create a shock hazard. All metal enclosures, such as electrical boxes and panel boards, must be bonded together and connected to the grounding system. Metal conduits and cable trays must also be bonded together and connected to the grounding system. Bonding jumpers are used to connect metal parts together. Bonding jumpers must be sized according to the National Electrical Code and must be securely fastened to the metal parts. Surge protection devices, or SPDs, are used to protect electrical equipment from voltage surges. Voltage surges can be caused by lightning strikes, power outages, or other disturbances on the electrical grid. SPD are typically installed at the service entrance and at sensitive equipment locations. SPD work by diverting the surge current to ground, protecting the equipment from damage. There are several different types of SPD available, including surge arresters, transient voltage surge suppressors, and surge protective capacitors. The type of SPD that is used depends on the application and the level of protection that is required. It is important to consult with a qualified electrician to determine the appropriate type of SPD for your needs. Electrical safety is of paramount importance. Always de-energize circuits before working on them. Use properly insulated tools and equipment. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as safety glasses and gloves. Never work on electrical equipment in wet or damp conditions. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, hire a qualified electrician. Regular electrical inspections can help identify potential problems and prevent electrical hazards. Electrical inspection should be performed by a qualified electrician. The electrician will inspect the wiring, grounding system, and other electrical components to ensure that they are in good condition and meet the requirements of the National Electrical Code. The electrician will also test the operation of circuit breakers and other safety devices. If any problems are found, the electrician will recommend repairs or replacements. Maintaining a safe electrical system is essential for protecting your home and family from electrical hazards. By following the recommendations in this discussion and consulting with a qualified electrician, you can ensure that your electrical system is safe and reliable. Remember that electrical codes and regulations are subject to change. It is important to stay up to date on the latest requirements and to consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions. The information provided here is for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician before performing any electrical work. Furthermore, always prioritize safety when working with electricity. Energize circuits before working on them, use properly insulated tools and equipment, and wear appropriate personal protective equipment. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, hire a qualified electrician.